And I don't want to like go off on a tangent here, but didn't Mike Douglas say he got throat cancer from eating Snatch?
Eating too much. I didn't even know that was such a thing.
He OD'd on it.
Like, not really saying anything. He's intense but reserved at the same time.
And he's wearing a
And
trench coat. So, I mean, I feel like you see a guy trench coat silent, there's something going on. Either he's about to show you something gross or dangerous.
he's so pissed, like, man, so they knew? Oh, I'll show them. So it's basically going to be a bluff game. And Elaine's like, haven't you done enough to these people? It's not about them.
Happened in the 90s.
Shout out to Michael Douglas, man. We're going to talk about probably my favorite movie of his a little bit later. Of course, we know about Basic Instinct, Sharon Stone. We know about Fatal Attraction, getting his bunny boiled by Glenn Close in the kitchen, doing rogue Wall Street stuff with Charlie Sheen in Wall Street.
I think that's my favorite. I think Gordon Gekko, that's Michael Douglas dictionary definition. That's what I want to see. But he's one of the few people who, you know, had a famous father or famous parent. And I don't know if he went past Kirk Douglas, but I feel like it's pretty neck and neck if it's not, if he didn't go past it.
Well, his dad was kind of like the Michael Douglas of his era. Now he has a son, Cameron Douglas.
Oh, does he got the Douglas looks?
All three of them have the Douglas look, that the pointed nose, the eyes, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he looks like Kirk Douglas. They're just like handsome men. So, all right, we got a new Douglas in the mix now. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get another Wall Street going, Steve.
Douglases never die.
Douglas on Douglas. I wouldn't say he was one of my favorite actors ever, but man, even the ones that I forget about, like The Game and stuff, then you'll just remember like just a classic that he was in. And that's one of them too. That's another Douglas classic that I got to put up there. The Mount Rushmore.
A Perfect Murder. We cover that with Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh yeah, the affair thing where he's trying.
Yeah.
So yeah, hell yeah, that was a dope movie. Yeah, that one caught me off guard too. That's one that I never really gave a chance to. Yeah, man. I don't think anybody, and even now he's staying relevant. He's even doing cool, like I don't know if you call it cool, but you know he's doing like Marvel movies and stuff. He was in the Ant-Man, so even younger generations are getting a little taste.
The man's 81. I'm kind of the same as far as like not having him on my top 10 or my top list of actors, but he gets an honorable mention because he was in some slappers. Swinging from Vines with Kathleen Turner, Romance in the Stone. What really makes him a legend, this adds to the heat. He's messing with Catherine Zeta-Jones. The man's 81. She's still in her 50s, Matt.
You know, and I don't want to like go off on a tangent here, but didn't Mike Douglas say he got throat cancer from eating Snatch?
Eating too much. I didn't even know that was such a thing.
He OD'd on it. So that's even more legendary. And I'm just going to throw another little tasty Michael Douglas lick with a splash of Val Kilmer. Steve, Ghost in the Darkness, that movie where they're hunting lions and being hunted by lions. That movie's dope.
I think I saw it. Was that 90s?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
96. Yep.
I saw that in the theater.
That movie's really intense, but the whole eating some puss and getting cancer, love that too. I love the diagnosis from Dr. Douglas.
I never knew coochie and carcinogens were in the same bucket.
You can take too much aspirin and die, Steve. So I guess it's the same thing with PJ. You ingest water. Exactly. I mean, anything can kill you these days. Yeah, I'm with you, dude. I'm just going down the list here. I'm just trying to find every like burner. I think we've covered most of them.
We covered them.
Yeah. So he also did a movie famously where I believe he was raped by Demi Moore. Remember that movie Disclosure where he was like sexually assaulted by a woman, like his boss?
Vaguely. Yeah, that sounds out of pocket, by the way.
Yeah, and also he was in a lot of sexual movies, Steve. This guy was into like the erotic thriller, which was a thing of the 90s, I feel like. I don't think we're getting a lot of those now. So
it's a thing of the Michael Douglas.
Hell yeah, dude. MD, he's got to get erotic with it. I love that idea too, where he's in like a meeting. He's like, yeah, I mean, lions, it's cool, but I need to get a nice bang scene in this someplace.
Can I bang a chick in front of the lion?
It's going to be really erotic. Mike, that's not this kind of movie.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
She walks under lasers. Oh.
This is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your King of the Ring tapes and your King of the Hill posters, because you can watch me and Matt G on television's Comcast sports cable television stations. Today, my friend, we're talking all things February 26th in the 90s. Hello, ho! Starting off in 1992, Seinfeld is airing season 3, episode 18, The Limo. Jerry and George take a limo from a passenger that Jerry knows never made it on the plane, but their false identities land them in hot water. Hilarity ensues.
This is a good one. I've never even seen this one. I love it. What's the deal with these airport restaurants and the prices of food at airports? I mean, this guy's literally doing an airplane food joke, Steve. What's that about?
Par for the course for Mr. Seinfeld. We see people at the airport. We see Costanza. He's waiting for the arrival. Jerry's coming in town, and he's supposed to pick him up.
And I do love George while he's waiting, Steve. He's like, hey, do you got the time? And people are just being rude. Like, yeah, there's a clock over there. And at one point, he just loses it. And he's like, we're in a society.
That guy's eyebrows really bothered me, Matt. I despised him because of those eyebrows. Like, why are they like that? You did that intentionally. That's not natural.
I'm going to have to go back and I didn't clock an eyebrow issue, but the guy, I clocked a rude issue because the guy's like, there's a clock over there. And George is like, you got a watch on, man.
That's the only thing that had my attention. Like, they're flipped up like owls. He had like owl eyebrows.
He had like that. He had the old man, like, I've lost the will to care eyebrows.
Like old Brit. He might have been a Brit. Like old, you know how some of them, like, yeah, they like it's like upside down Fu Manchus. But anyways, yeah, Jerry shows up and he finds out that Costanza doesn't have a car. So they're trying to figure out, what do we do now? And then they turn to the left and they see that there's a limo waiting. What do you call them? Limousine driver waiting line?
Chauffeur. Yeah, whatever you call it.
Chauffeur.
Yeah.
He sees the chauffeur holding a sign. One of them says O'Brien.
Jerry's like, well, he's going to be waiting here a while because O'Brien never got on the plane because Jerry was on the plane. So that O'Brien guy, apparently there was a bunch of announcements. He never caught the flight. So Jerry knows, unlike anybody else at this airport, including George, that O'Brien, that guy's waiting for somebody who's not on that plane. George is like, you know what, man? Great idea. Car's messed up. Why don't we just say we're O'Brien real quick and get this limo ride into the city? Which, honestly, Steve, just at first glance, that is a good idea. Because this is back before the internet, man. They don't know nothing. It's not like they got a dossier.
Diva George says, what's the worst that could happen? They're not going to kill us. So who's going to be O'Brien? Well, I'll be O'Brien. Well, who am I going to be? So they make up a name. Your name's going to be Murphy.
Dylan Murphy. Very 90210 sounding name. Plan works perfectly. George sells the O'Brien thing. The limo guy's like, cool, let's go. So they get in the limo. George, as soon as he gets in, this guy's having just limo fever, Steve. He just feels great about being there. He's hitting all the buttons. He's pulling like a Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone 2, where he's just living the life.
Totally. Yeah, he's even making phone calls. I didn't even know you could do that in the 90s. Make phone calls from the back of a limo.
I think he calls his mom.
His mom, that's what it is. And he ends up getting into an argument with his mom. So they get off the phone. They're talking. And he's like, man, I wonder if the driver can hear us. Hey, driver, why don't we pick up your sister?
You fucking hump. I question this all the time in these scenarios. I'm like, this guy has to be able to hear, you know?
Hey, wiener face.
But the guy apparently can't, or he's acting like he can't. So they're like, hey, limo driver. They put the little divider thing down, and they ask him to take him over to Jerry's, you know, drop him off. That was kind of the plan. But the guy's like, no can do. I picked you up to go to Madison Square Garden, and I got those 4 passes you asked for. So now this is like a dream come true. 4 passes to Madison Square Garden. What?
And the Bulls are in town. They're going to see Jordan, Matt. They're going to see MJ, his airness. Sometimes I dream that he was me.
Nothing but net. This is bonus right now. They're living on cloud 9. Free limo ride, free 4 passes to a Knicks Bulls game in MSG, Steve. This is the cream dream. So they're like, you know what? Let's get Elaine and Kramer in on this. We got 2 extra ticks. Let's call the homies up.
So Jerry calls Elaine, tells him that we have 4 passes. We'll be picking you up in a limo, by the way. And just remember, I'm Murphy and George is O'Brien.
Which honestly, man, just having Kramer in the mix on this, I wouldn't trust this. You can't keep that wild card in there. But Elaine's like, cool, got it. So they tell the driver, got to make a stop real quick. The driver's very like, I know. So they're like, oh, shit. So he's going someplace else. They get off the highway and they're like, wait, where are we going? The driver's like, oh, we're going to pick up other members of your party, sir. So now they're like, oh, Jesus. So they're stuck. They're O'Brien and Murphy, and now they're going to pick up 2 other people who God knows what they are. You know, Steve?
You don't look like an O'Brien.
So they finally get to these other people. I think they found out that the people didn't know what O'Brien looked like. Maybe I'm misremembering this, but they finally get to these 2 people, and it's these 2 like kind of weirdos, Steve. 2 white people, white lady, white dude. I think it's the guy from Sports Night, if I'm not mistaken, that weird show about ESPN.
Before its time.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I like that show. George kind of hides his face so these people get in, and Jerry's like kind of like shooting the shit with him, and they're like, oh, we've never even seen his face. He's like, wait, you read his book and you've never even seen his face? This woman's like baddie. She's off, Steve.
And this is pre-internet to where you can't just Google image somebody. So while they're talking, George is covering his face because, you know, they're trying to pull this off. The weird lady, she's like, we read his book, The Game. We need to meet him. It's actually him. So Jerry finally wakes him up as he knows that they've never seen what the guy looks like. He's like, hey, wake up. It's O'Brien. Yeah. Hey.
O'Brien here. And yeah, apparently O'Brien has like a newsletter that they're faithful subscribers to. So there's this whole like mystique. We don't know who O'Brien is. And like Steve said, there's no phone where you can be like, O'Brien, who the fuck is O'Brien, real quick, and just get that on the slip slide. So then we cut to Elaine and Kramer, who are now meeting out on this corner in New York to get picked up by Jerry. Kramer just acts like he's playing basketball like Jordan, and then he just falls into some trash. Kramer style.
Yeah. We cut to a little Jerry comedy bit where he's talking about limos, just kind of how prehistoric, I guess, or antiquated they seem. Like when you look at a limo, you always think about shag carpeting and somebody like shooting a Billy D. Williams Colt 45 commercial. Somebody wearing platforms, you know, and it's like, look, the only people I usually expect riding a limo are rich guys or 50 kids with 175 each.
Yeah. Or Jack Horner and Roller Girl trying to pick up somebody for a little amateur hours, Steve. Also, he's like, why do we tint the windows? No one cares who's in a limo. And I disagree, Jerry. When I see a limo, I'm like, ooh, who's in there?
Right.
Because I'm dumb. So cut back to the limo. And now it's concerning these people that they're meeting up with. Because like I said, there's something off. And the guy that is there is real intense, and he's obsessed with this book, The Game, which, I don't know. Something's fishy's going on here, Steve.
His energy, it's throwing me off. Like, he's just intently staring and, like, not really saying anything. He's intense but reserved at the same time.
And he's wearing a trench coat. So, I mean, I feel like you see a guy trench coat silent, there's something going on. Either he's about to show you something gross or dangerous.
And this is pre-Columbine. He's concerned, like, man, you think someone's been tipped off?
I mean, like, we got to get out of here. I just jump out of doors, Steve.
So tell me what you think about The Game. It changed my life.
She's obsessed, Steve. She's ready to gush. Then they drop this bomb that, you know, O'Brien's been communicating with these 2 like super fans, and apparently O'Brien / George, he's got to give a speech, Steve. He's got to give a speech, and he's like, oh, a speech. I didn't even prepare anything. And they're like, no, you did. You faxed us the speech. So they have the speech here. Kind of see where this is going now, because they start going through this speech like the Epstein files. It's pretty Jew heavy. There's a lot of hard J's being thrown around, a lot of anti-Semitism going on in this thing, Steve. I'm starting to wonder who this O'Brien guy is.
We come back to Elaine and Kramer, and then this is one of the few times Kramer's using logic because it's just not making sense to him. He's like, I thought George was supposed to pick him up. Why are they in a limo? I don't know.
That doesn't.
And also, it's important that we call them O'Brien and Murphy. Okay. O'Brien and Murphy. We come back to George in the limo. He's reading basically a manifesto on white supremacy. And then all of a sudden they hear a bang. And oh, buddy, the super fan, he's on 10, Matt. And so it ends up being a flat tire. But throughout all of that, the girl, she ends up falling on top of George. And she's like, I am ready to die for you.
I mean, and George is like, oh, did you see how that chick was looking at me, Jerry? She's a Nazi! Also, homie with the trench coat does have a little bang bang on him, too, because when the tire pops, he just pulls it out. I mean, he's James Bond, Steve.
They both do. They're fully tooled up, man, because after they realize it's a flat tire, the girl's just like, we're prepared for anything that would come out. And then she opens up like this little mini briefcase with like 3 or 4 straps.
I mean, they're ready to go, Steve. They're ready to either sell or do some damage. Honestly, Steve, at this point, you got to either go for a gun and just get these people out of the limo or just make a break for it. And they're not willing to do either. It's George and Jerry.
So we cut back to the angry demonstrators, and they're protesting this O'Brien speech. And this is when Elaine sees David. This is a guy that she knows. He invites her to come to this rally. We're demonstrating against this O'Brien guy. Well, who's that? O'Brien? He's the head of the Aryan Nation. Oh, O'Brien.
Oh, now Kramer goes off, Steve, because now he thinks a million things. Maybe Jerry is O'Brien. Maybe he's in the CIA. Maybe something else is going on here. But Kramer weirdly is like the only one that's kind of like prescient in this whole episode, which is very anti-Kramer. He actually knows what's going on, but because it's wacky as hell, he never gets the kudos, Steve.
I don't know, man. When he found out it was about the Aryan Union, I saw a little sparkle in his eye.
Oh, I mean,
I'm not.
That's Michael Richards, though. That ain't.
That's Michael Richards.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? That's just he couldn't help that from coming out. He's not that good of an actor, so. Very. It starts getting real Jay heavy here, and Jerry's like, "We gotta get out of here." He's saying what I'm saying, but they just can't get out. So Tim, who is the white guy, I realized I finally found his name. Tim, the white guy, Tim, the Nazi. He's like, "Really? You know what? You don't look like an O'Brien. Where are you from?" And they can't even fake. I mean, they try to fake it, but luckily they don't get shot. But Tim's kind of onto him, Steve.
Yeah, and he's trying to stay in the limo. George is like, hey, we need to have a one-on-one session. You mind? He's like, no, we're about to leave anyway. He's like, hey, man, who's the head of fascism? Who made racism cool? You know, this guy. So he's kind of like a little puppy in a way, too. George is like, look, we get to Elaine and Kramer, and then we get out. Look, dude, they're not going to shoot us in the city. And Jerry's like, yeah, they won't shoot you in the city because that's never happened in New York.
Yeah, also they're Nazis. They're not thinking clearly anyway. It's two things coming to a head here. So finally, they're like in this, they're being questioned. It's almost coming to a head in the limo. Kramer and Elaine are getting into like a little bit of an argument too. And the limo gets there, they get in, and Kramer instantly shits the bed. He calls Jerry O'Brien, which is not correct. And then immediately Tim's like, wait, why'd you call him that? And the jig's basically up, Steve.
The protesters, all this is happening, they start rushing the car once they see the limo. And on top of that, they get a phone call from the real O'Brien. And so once the super fans get hip, they basically have everybody at gunpoint.
Yeah, they're not too happy about it. Nobody's happy outside or inside this limo. Outside, it's chaos. They're trying to flip the limo. They have the Aryan Nation. I mean, by all means, flip this limo. But the Nazis tell them to get out. And everybody thinks George is O'Brien because nobody knows what this guy looks like. I'm surprised they didn't get ripped apart, Steve.
And then as they're leaving the limo, Elaine sees Dan, or Dan sees Elaine.
She's like, Dan, because she's in the limo, and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we cut to like a press conference on the New York News, and we pull out, and it's just George like, I'm not O'Brien. I'm not O'Brien. That's a tough one, Steve. That's a tough one. You got to really hope you get out alive. But I love Jerry's last comedy set, too, because I like he points out, like, you know, Nazis kind of had the formal Zig Heil, and then they kind of had that casual, like, business casual Zig Heil. I was like, hey, what's up? Zig Heil, whatever. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
Don't get into somebody else's limo, Steve. You think it's going to be all gravy, but there's no free rides.
But in 1993, El Mariachi premieres. A traveling mariachi is mistaken for a murderous criminal and must hide from a gang bent on killing him. Directed by Robert Rodriguez, starring Carlos Gallardo, Consuelo Gomez, and Peter Marquardt. Here it goes.
This is it.
Your boy.
Robert Rodriguez, man. This is where it all started. And to me, just for me personally, like, I dig it. It is what it is. It's a little low quality because it was so low budget. I mean, they paid like $7,000 to make the movie, which even then is crazy. That's why he got so much kudos for it. That's why he was given the ability to make Desperado after this with a budget. To me, he's the most inspiring dude in terms of filmmakers because he did this himself. He made a movie. He figured out how to make money off of it and how to like make a movie for nothing on a budget. And then when he got famous, he's one of the few people who took the time to like share how to do it and share the philosophy of making movies and making it more approachable to like normal people. And that's why I love him so much. I love his movies. I think he's got a cool style. I dig somebody who's a one-man band that can really do everything down to the, you know, the music stuff. I think he shares a lot with like a John Carpenter, to be honest with you. Somebody who's capable of writing a movie, making a movie, editing a movie, putting the music into a movie, and can give you a finished product that's great for little to nothing, which I don't know if that's like the benchmark for greatness in terms of a guy who's making movies, but I do think it's something that's really awesome in like the most basic way for me to say it.
You could say he's a savvy guy. They say it would have cost only $600 if it wasn't for the film processing and they say telecine cost.
It's more processing stuff. It's like another part of that, like post-production.
Not only that, man, the local like newsmen or whatever, local reporters, they were talking down on the movie, like where he shot this. So to mute them, he was like, hey, you want to be in the movie? So that's what I mean by just being savvy. Hey, man, why don't you be in my movie so you can shut the hell up?
I think, like, honestly, he made this, and then he, like, initially he was just like, I'm going to make a movie that's specifically for, like, the Mexican television market. Something I can sell to Mexican TV that's a movie of TV quality for them. And it ended up being something that started his career. So I think, like, that's got to be something that if you want to make movies inspires you, like, shows you that if you can just, like, finish it, anything's possible. That's the hardest part. And James Cameron's a guy who'll make technology for his movies. He's like a, sort of like somebody that you would call groundbreaking. And I think Robert Rodriguez is like that too, because he did this. He's low budget, which is very anti-Hollywood. And he was one of the first people to use like videos, like video cameras instead of film cameras, and like pioneered that. So dude's a beast, man. I could talk for hours about it.
And on that same day in 1993, Falling Down premieres. An ordinary man reaches his breaking point and starts lashing out against the various flaws he sees in society. Directed by Joel Schumacher, starring Michael Douglas, Robert Duvall, Barbara Hershey, Rachel Takadin, Frederick Forrest, and Tuesday Weld.
I was surprised Steve Kendra, my wife, loved this movie. I think this movie becomes more approachable and enjoyable the older we get. I guess I get it more, you know?
No, totally. It's inspiring. And it's really like this guy is my spirit animal. It's actually Michael Douglas's favorite movie. And even his daddy was proud. He said it's his favorite of his son's performances. And I didn't realize that this character inspired Frank Grimes, one of my favorite side characters or one-off characters in The Simpsons. Yeah, it makes sense when you look at the haircut, cut off, button up.
I just dig the whole thing. And I think it's an interesting idea for a movie. It's a fun, like, I mean, it's very not, I mean, there's a lot of not fun things in it, but even him, they make him sort of relatable, but he's also this, like, he's a sinister guy too. It's a strange movie because he's not really like a hero, but you sympathize with him, you know? And he's intimidating his ex-wife. He does want to see his daughter, which you understand and sympathize with, but man, dude, just like all those signature scenes where it's like the confrontations he gets in, like especially when he's like in the convenience store, that's hilarious. The guy's pulling the knife on him, crazy, man. And it is a kind of strange that Joel Schumacher made the movie. I never knew that. Oh, he's like a blockbuster, dude.
Even the breakfast lunch scene where it's like, man, no, I don't care. I want breakfast. Well, sir, we stopped serving at 11. I want breakfast.
I'm a consumer. Just I mean, it's all, honestly, Steve, it's also the ultimate Karen. Because he's like, how much does this cost? Too much. You know, he's consumer services or whatever. He's taking it upon himself, Steve. And I feel
he has some valid points though, because he shows the picture of the burger and then he holds up the actual burger. It's like, man, this is false advertisement. What is this? I can't get jiggy to this. Like,
I love that people in the restaurant try to leave. He's like, don't leave. Enjoy your meal. He's got a huge gun on.
Just getting to know you.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I kind of came onto this movie later in life. I didn't watch this as a kid, I don't think. I think I watched it in college or something, but I always remember seeing it. It's got an iconic like cover art of him on like the little graffiti thing. And I think it's just a fun movie. And especially nowadays, some guy who's getting his because he's been completely fucked over by life. It kind of feels right. You know what I mean?
It wouldn't resonate as much watching it as a kid. I'm kind of glad I didn't watch it until I was well into adulthood because, like, dang, it hits different. You know, as a kid, I watched it. It'd been like, man, he's really angry. Why is he? He wasn't always angry. He wasn't that way in the beginning. No, I get it. I totally get it, man. You just wake up sometimes and it's like destruction.
But I also like that he's like weirdly blessed. He fucks with the gangsters and then they try to kill like in the drive-by. He just doesn't even move. Like they try to shoot him and it's a Pulp Fiction thing where the bullets just go around him and he's just like, oh shit, you guys again? You know, he's super cool about everything. So yeah, especially in current times, this movie it resonates with a lot of people, I feel like.
Yeah. Let's play a game called Shoot People. But you want to know who we lost in 1994 that following year, man? I bet you want to know.
I do, but I don't. American
comedian William Hicks, a.k.a. Bill Hicks. We would lose him at the age of 32.
I don't know what to say because I'm not as huge of a fan of Bill Hicks as I was, but back in college, man, dude was one of the most inspiring people to me. I dug his comedy. I mean, I still do. I think I wanted to hear the things he was saying, but it's not really comedy as much as it's like philosophy. I feel like he's a very like intelligent guy, and I dig it. I'm not saying that he's not a comedic genius, but the guy is a legend. The guy was one of the most like influential guys in the 80s and early 90s. And yeah, man, this was sad. I think it caught a lot of people off guard too. I don't know if like everybody knew what was going on with him, but yeah, dude, legend, outlaw.
And this is a person that I didn't even know about at all until I was in college. I think it was like a true Hollywood story or it was some kind of documentary about the man. And I just happened to watch it late. And it's like, man, this guy seems interesting. He's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I don't remember exactly how I got tuned into him either, to be honest with you. Maybe it was something on Comedy Central that they did, but in terms of just like a human being, intelligence and like charisma and just overall just like a cool character that we got to like experience. He was a one-off, man. He was definitely like a cool ass dude.
I kind of feel like he walked so the Bill Burrs and the Mark Marons could run. Like, obviously, Bill Hicks, he took the baton from somebody else. That was maybe George. I feel like George Carlin is the godfather of all of that. But Bill Hicks, for his era from the 80s and early 90s, he held it down. And I didn't realize that there's a snippet at the beginning of a Tool song, and it's his whole real high on drugs. Like, they use that snippet. They're like, oh, that's where it comes from.
Yeah. He had a lot of great things. Like, he kind of had, to me, had the same vibe of a Hunter S. Thompson, where he had like his finger on the pulse of everything, and he was calling things out that were really going on. To me, I think he might have actually had beef with him, and I'm not like up to, I forget like the whole storylines that were going on, but I feel like him and Sam just had a lot in common, man.
They were brothers. They started off with as the Texas Outlaws. I thought you were about to say Dennis Leary. They definitely had beef.
He didn't like Dennis Leary, and for good reason. I mean, I think a lot of people were like that. But no, man, as I've gotten older, I don't, for whatever reason, I've avoided Bill Hicks a little bit more than I used to. I used to have I had all his DVDs and CDs and stuff like that. And he's an interesting man. He's definitely somebody you should look into if you've never heard him.
I kind of know what you mean, because when I initially heard about him back in the Bowling Green days, I was knee deep in all of his stuff, man. But because we have such a limited selection to pick from, unfortunately, it's like I've heard this joke. I've already, so I can't help but think it's kind of like Patrice O'Neal, man. They would have made some blockbuster stand-ups. Bill Hicks never got that opportunity. He's done specials, but he's never had like that. You know what I mean? Like,
I think the one that he had, that I believe it was his HBO special, where he came out of like a door that had like flames in it, and he had like a black trench coat and a black cowboy hat and stuff. Yeah. I think that's the one. I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, man, Bill Hicks, legend. And I think that, like, we weren't clued into it at the time, but yeah, huge loss to the comedy scene. And I'm like you, it's like weird to think about those people. It's like, man, if they were still around now, think of all like the legacy that they would have left.
He really would have been the next George Carlin. Like, Carlin was ready to pass that baton. Well, I wouldn't say ready, but like we wanted somebody to keep that dynasty going, that lineage of that kind of comedy, that satire. So he was a big fan of Carlin to the point where he wore all black, just like Carlin, in all of his specials.
Back in the 80s, like, comedy was a lot different. There weren't people like making political statements and calling out things like that. It was more like Jerry Seinfeld stuff and like, what I call like cruise ship comedy. And he was out there like talking about presidents, and he really was kind of like this outlaw, like pop culture outlaw, where he was just calling people out. It was more about like telling the truth and stuff than it was like, look at this funny guy or whatever, And I think he probably made fun of people like that too, because he also called like, chodes out. He called people out. So I think that's what appealed to us in our 20s, was like, this guy didn't give a fuck. And he was like telling people to their face that they suck. So that's pretty cool.
And he wasn't wrong. But in 1997, Booty Call premieres. Two friends who have gone too long without sex set out to get some. Directed by Jeff Pollock, starring Tommy Davidson, Jamie Foxx, Vivica A. Fox, and Tamala Jones. Oh, I love some Tamala.
I mean, dude, shed a lot of DNA to this movie back in the day, Steve, just because of Vivica. But I always dug it. I know some people think this movie's cheesy or sucks, but you get Tommy Davidson and Jamie Foxx just acting insane with each other, and I get trying to do anything to get some puss, Steve. I've been there. You know what I mean?
Stupid ass movie. I'm one of those people. It's a dumbass movie.
I love it, man. You've got to lick it before you stick it. It's great. Come on, man. Tommy Davidson with the dental dam.
That's like that. It makes it so stupidly ridiculous, bro. Like, Booty Call should be only a 5-minute video. Like, it's 3:00. I'm hard, bitch. That's like, y'all doing all this. So, like you said, wrapping yourself in saran wrap. I hope none of y'all get any.
I mean, you're right. Is it dumb? Absolutely. But there's a lot of dumb movies, and just seeing like the comedy you get from Jamie Foxx I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid, Steve. Maybe I'm dumb. Call
I
me
mean,
stupid.
Well, I'm not calling you that. The movie's stupid. But hey, I mean, I like Gummo, and you think that's stupid. So it's just like, how did
That's
he
more
end up in?
concern, though. You know what I'm saying? That's more concern. At least in this movie, I get to see Vivica A just looking just sexy as hell for most of the movie. In a
Wearing
bra.
clothes. If you want that, watch. Doesn't she show titty in one of the Kill Bills or something? She like. There's other movies. If you want to see a better Vivica, like, I mean, it's a tease. You don't see Tamala Jones, I think her name is. You don't see no booty. This booty call. You don't see no booty, not a cheek, no cheeks, not a half a cheek. You don't see no.
I mean, there's some bra and panties, so I'm thinking you might see a cheek, but I get it's not to the level that you want. But I was a vanilla kid back in the day, Steve. A nice library rental. You could rent booty call from the library. And I did.
This came out
Dozens of times.
This came out when we were 13, Matt. We needed to see some clapping.
I mean, believe me, yes. But I didn't have access to that yet. I had blurred porno channels that I could just hear. So I was an auditory jacker. So if I get to see even the outline of a titty on Vivica A, that's going to make me pop. And I apologize for that.
I had my uncle's catalog whenever he'd go out into the city.
That's not. I see. I didn't have access to that. Maybe I could have get him Playboy every once in a while, but
yeah,
I didn't have that. So this is what I was looking for: a little side titty on White Men Can't Jump. That's all little Matt G needed, Steve.
Booty Call couldn't even give you that stupid ass movie. But that following year, 1998, Seinfeld is airing season 9, episode 15, The Wizard. Jerry goes down to Florida for his father's birthday. George tries to avoid Susan's parents. Elaine can't figure out her new boyfriend's nationality, and Kramer decides to retire.
This is a good one, too. Man, they picked a good guy for Elaine's boyfriend, Steve, because this had me guessing the whole time, too. I got to be honest with you. We start off in the diner, and Jerry got his dad this thing called a wizard. It's like an organizer. It's a BlackBerry. It's a whatever, whatchamacallit. He's going to Florida to visit. You know, his dad's penny pinching. And he told his dad that this $200 gadget cost him $50. He got a deal. And that's going to come into it later.
And he's more excited about that than the actual gift. But George, we find out he got a note from Susan's parents. And he's like, man, they probably think I have something to do with Susan's death.
Those envelopes might have done it. Also, Jerry and George meet this guy, Daryl, who Elaine's dating. He just, leaves, says whatever. They sit down, and Jerry's like, that's cool, man. You're dating a black guy. That's pretty cool. And she's like, black? What? And he's like, yeah, isn't that guy black? And then they start questioning the race of this Daryl guy. And then I think George is like, are we supposed to be talking about this?
Yeah.
Cool.
I think he's black. Why does it matter? And then the waitress, who's black, she shows up to the table. And I guess this is white guilt. They're just very gratuitous. They just start piling on ones, maybe some 5s and 10s, big face 1s and 5s.
We cut to Jerry's, and that's where George actually is on the phone with Susan's mom. And I guess they're having some sort of foundation, the Susan Ross Foundation, which was founded in memory of Susan. They're having a get-together, but George makes up this excuse that he's buying a house in the Hamptons, I think.
Yeah, he leased a house. And he's got to sign the papers.
Then Kramer catapults in. He's got stogies for everybody, Steve. He's celebrating. Turns out that coffee table book that he created that was turned into a coffee table, Hollywood's optioning that. They pulled the option. He's rich.
But how could you make a movie out of that book? You know that book on toy ray guns? Independence Day. Yeah.
So it's official, and he's retiring. He's accomplished everything that he wanted to in life. He's rich. Time to live it up, Steve. So Kramer, he's getting that Social Security now, even though he's 50. Cut to Daryl's. Elaine shows up, and now in her head, she just has this question of what is this? Who am I dealing with here? Where's this guy from? And outside of his apartment, she hears some rap music. So she's
blaring.
Of course. Yeah. I'm with a black dude. So she knocks on the door, and Daryl's like, yeah, sorry about all this music. She's like, no, it's cool. And he's like, no, it's my neighbor. So he knocks on the wall, and he's like, yo, turn down the music. And that, even then I'm like, All right, man, this might be a bro. I don't know.
And then Elaine sees these masks hanging on the wall. And she's like, oh, where are these from? Africa. Oh, they're African masks? Well, actually, South African. My family, we lived there for some time, but then we had to get out because for obvious reasons,
Mm. So she's not sure where this is at this point. Cut to the street, and George, he's chopping it up with the hot dog guys, Steve. He's asking about hot dogs, how's the water, this, that, and the other. And we see behind him the Rosses. They just see him. And they're like, I guess avoiding him, but they just see him and look at him. They're like trash, and they just move away. I like the Rosses, Steve. I know they're dealing with some tragedy, but these guys like to party,
The whole angle is hilarious because they're both kind of trying to avoid each other in a way. But yeah. And we cut to Jerry. He's already in Florida. He's at his parents' house, and they're already up. It's 5:30 in the morning. So they get up with the sun and the Golden Girls. So he gives his dad the birthday gift. I think he asks him if it's a radar detector.
Yeah. Radar detector? And Jerry's like, no, it's a thing. You can do this. It does this. It's a wizard. Then Kramer pulls a Kramer, Steve, and he just pops in. We're in Florida now.
Yeah.
Kramer's here. And Jerry's like, what the hell? Turns out, Steve, you retire in Florida. That's what he did. And he moved in right next to the Seinfelds. He's right in there. Del Boca Vista's newest.
You can't live here. This is where people come to die. Well, not you, older people.
Not you! But then we see a montage, Steve, of Kramer just living the Floridian life of just excellence, where he's, beating people at ping pong, these old geezers. He's beating the hell out of them in ping pong. He's hogging all the ladies at the dances at the retirement community. Everyone's a huge Kramer fan, Steve. Even when the ambulance takes a dead old lady away, everyone's like, this guy gets it. He's just the guy, Steve.
We cut back to the diner with George and Elaine. George suggests, why don't you just ask him? Well, because that means I really want to know. And I don't really want to know. I don't want him to know that I really want to know. Maybe he's mixed. I don't think we should talk about that.
So he goes to the bathroom, and Elaine's like, I'm out. And as she's leaving, she runs into the Rosses.
Yeah.
And they mentioned the Hamptons house that George bought. And Elaine's like, what? Hamptons? And she just shits all over it, Steve. Yeah. She just blows it. She leaves and just leaves the Rosses like, wait, what?
Yeah. And then George comes out of the restroom and he sees the Rosses. He's like, look, I'm sorry I missed the charity. This is one of those amazing Hampton weekends that you only hear about.
They're like, sure, George, sure. They know.
Now we're back to Jerry and his parents. His dad, he's been so gung-ho about the tip calculator feature on this wizard. So now I could figure out what tip to give. And I'm not over tipping.
You can do everything. But he does love it. And I mean, Morty, at some point, you're going to go to a restaurant in the future, and they're just going to have that into what you pay the shit on. You don't even need this tip calculator, but he loves it, Steve. And I love how he's like, is this enough? All right, we're going to round down. He's very frugal, Steve.
We find out that the condo election is coming up. His dad can't run because the press would bury him. I guess he got kicked out of a previous election.
He was pulling some Trump shenanigans, Steve. He was doing some shady stuff. So Morty can't run. But he's like, the press will kill me. And Jerry's like, what press?
Yeah.
He gets the bright idea. Let's use Kramer, because Kramer's Mr. Man About Town in Del Boca Vista. Everyone loves him. So he's like, you know what? He wants to run a little puppet master thing going with Kramer, Steve.
He sees him as the next condo board president of Condo Vista. We're back to Elaine and Daryl, and they're filling out some kind of form, some kind of census.
I think it's actually just the warranty. She bought him a wizard, one of those wizard gadgets.
That's what it was.
She's like, all right, they got a couple questions here. I'm just going to run through these. Pretty boilerplate stuff. Age, got it. Okay, they're asking this. Race. He's like, really? Isn't that optional? And she's like, it should be. It should be. But it's not. They need to know this. They'd really like to know. So he's like, all right, Asian. She's like, Asian? Really? I didn't think that. And he's like, I'm fucking with him. So she can't get an answer, Steve. And to be honest with you, just looking at the dude, what are you thinking?
He looks mixed.
Yeah, there's sprinklings of a little bit of something in here. So like I said, they picked a good guy for this. Daryl, I can't peg it, Steve. I can't call it.
They bring up income. He's like, well, over 100,000. It's like, whoa, really?
Nice to know.
Yeah. Get back to the crew.
Yeah, he's talking to Elaine on the phone.
Yeah, he's talking to Elaine on the phone, and he asked about Daryl's, and then she tells him, like, yeah, we're going to a Spanish restaurant. Jerry tells her about his dad, and we find out Elaine, it's her duty to get Jerry's mail. But George comes in, and he's pissed when he finds out. He's like,
Jerry, why is Elaine getting the mail? He's like, no, dude, I got an even more important job for you. That mail stuff is nothing. I need you to come to my apartment 2 times a day to flush my toilets. He's made up a job, Steve. Let's put it like that, just to make George feel important.
but what about the mail? No, George, this is more important. George saw the Rosses. Now he's talking to Elaine. He's like, well, where did they get the idea you had a house in the Hamptons? Because I told them I had a house in the Hamptons. It's like, well,
You say.
yeah. Well, they know that you don't. So, well, why not? Because I told them. Well, what did you say? I laughed.
So now George thinks he has to prove something, Steve, as always. So he's gonna, by God, prove to these people he's got a house in the Hamptons.
Knowing damn well he doesn't.
I love it.
Because he's so pissed, like, man, so they knew? Oh, I'll show them. So it's basically going to be a bluff game. And Elaine's like, haven't you done enough to these people? It's not about them.
He's on a mission, Steve. And this is where the episode really starts to heat up for me. The George aspect of this is fantastic.
We see Kramer doing his campaign. Vote for Kramer, condo president. And he sees this old lady. She's like, can you cut my meat? He has time to chop up the lady's steak or chop liver, Salisbury steak.
I like the smoking voice guy at the complex. He's like, this guy, Morty, this guy's the best.
Yeah.
If there was a baby to kiss in this old place, Steve, he'd be kissing it. Kramer's all over the place. He's got outfits. He's got swag to give out. I mean, he's schmoozing with the best of them.
He's doing everything right. And back to the diner is Elaine and Daryl. And the waitress, I've never heard any waitress ask like this, are you black?
Yeah. Even everybody was like, what the fuck? But coffee. Do you want some cream? And he's like, no, black. Yeah, whatever. So, I mean, the race thing keeps coming up, Steve.
Daryl notices a couple like kind of giving him a mean look, I guess, as they're going out. And he's like, there's still people having problems with interracial couples. It's like, interracial? Oh, okay. So she's
interracial. We're an interracial. Okay. Yeah.
But now George, he's ready to take the Rosses to the Hamptons. And he's basically trying to bluff. We cut to that real quick. And then back to Kramer. He's campaigning with Jerry's dad. And tomorrow's going to be the home stretch. And after he wins, they're going to have a party that goes until 8 p.m. Do it up. Do the big one. And
yeah.
But that's short-lived because we find out that in all the bulletins, Cosmo Kramer was caught barefoot
in the clubhouse, Steve. And that's against the rules. And Morty, everyone's just mortified. I mean, that's hilarious. Morty's mortified. It's like, how are we going to get over on this? I know. And he comes up with it because Morty, he's a straight political genius. He's like, what if we get everybody those wizards that Jerry got me, the tip calculators? You got the deal, don't you, Jerry? So Jerry's like on the hook now for what they say, 20 wizards, Steve?
20 wizards for every board member. But first, I need a nap. And I can't get that many wizards. But Kramer, always on his toes, he's like, look, man, I got a plug. Bob Sacramento's father. And Bob Sacramento, he's like I don't think he's ever been shown. He's just one of those like fictional names that they always throw out. But yeah.
He's a Lilith, the show.
A Lilith. And back to George, he's telling them about the house. Yeah, it's got a master bedroom. And it leads to a solarium. There's another solarium. Yeah.
Two solariums.
Two solariums.
I love right before, because he gets them to pick them up to go to the Hamptons. And you can tell he's like, all right, you want to go? You get in, we're going. And when they get in the car, he throws a Batman line. He's like, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. And that's kind of his vibe this whole way, because he keeps stopping off, Steve. He's like, you sure you want to go all the way to the Hamptons? And they stop off, and then he's like, let's go again. And he's like, all right, we're putting it up another notch. Like, it's so great.
And the mom asked, hey, can you stop over here? We'll get you a housewarming gift. Oh, yeah. And he does one of those. Yeah.
We're doing it.
And now Elaine's at the diner. She's talking to the black waitress. The waitress says, like, I just worked a triple shift. It's like, I know your feet are tired, sister. Wait, sister? What? Hold up. Look, I'm dating a black guy. It's all right.
And isn't that where the guy hears? He's like, wait, I'm not black.
Black?
I'm not black. And she's like, wait, you're not black? You said we were interracial. And he's like, yeah, you're Spanish, right?
Aren't
She's
you?
like, I'm Spanish. I'm white. And he's like, wait, all the Spanish restaurants? Look at your hair. Tell me you're not Spanish? It's a nice compliment. And Elaine, you do have a nice little Latina heat to you. Turns out there's just been a little bit of miscommunication, Steve. It's just two white people. And I love this. They're like, so wait, we're just two white people? And it seems like they're like, oh, okay. So you want to go to the Gap?
Yeah.
Like, that's the white thing to do. I just want to go to the Gap.
Back to the campaign, the polls are closing in an hour. The residents, they realize that the calculators ain't calculating. Computers ain't computing, because one guy's like, man, these calculators are over tipping.
I just tipped this lady $5 for a BLT. What the hell? Turns out, Steve, they're not wizards. They're Willards. Bob Sacramento's dad, he screwed everybody, Steve. He's got some Fugazi merchandise out here.
The real wizards are 200. Kramer, you're finished.
Get this guy out of here. So he's done. They're voting for somebody in a wheelchair. And Kramer's like, you know what, guys? I'm done here. I'm going back to New York.
Yeah. He just walks out. Back to George and the Rosses. They get to the end of Long Island. So it's basically a dead end. It's like, well, we're at the end of Long Island. Well, yeah, we got to go by foot from here.
He won't stop, Steve. He's like, of course, at some point they're going to just stop this. But then they just keep nudging him on. And he's like, finally he goes, look, jig's up. There's no house, no solariums. There's none of it. He's basically on his knees like, what do you want from me? Like, why'd you do this? And they're like, to be honest with you, George, we don't like you. And we've always blamed you for what happened to Susan. That's an insane thing to say. And he's like, oh, okay. And then the guy's just like, all right, let's go back home. That's it.
George got out-pettied in this episode.
Just how far will you take the lies, Steve? I mean, we've all been there where you're just like, keep going and going, but never to this. Obviously, this is an extreme. But I just love George's attitude where every time you can tell he thinks they're going to say like, George, let's just go home. He's like, oh,
and
let's do it.
And they got these horses named Snoopy and Prickly Pete.
There's no Snoopy. There's no Prickly Pete. Oh, man. What a great episode. I mean, I know we did 2 Seinfelds, but man, these are some bangers. And I've never heard of the Nazi one for sure. I think I've seen this one, but man, great episodes.
Yeah, I think the Limo episode probably didn't get pushed in syndication as much as the others for obvious reasons. But yeah, man, that following year, 1999, 200 Cigarettes premieres. A collection of 20-somethings try to cope with relationships, loneliness, desire, and their individual neurosis. Directed by Risa Brahman Garcia, starring Ben Affleck, Casey Affleck, Dave Chappelle, Guillermo Diaz, Angela Featherston, Janine Garofalo, Gabby Hoffman, Kate Hudson, Courtney Love, Jay Moore, Martha Plimpton, Christina Ricci, and Paul Rudd.
Yeah. A lot of celebrities. Personally, Steve, I'm not giving this movie a high rating, but Dave Chappelle in this movie, fantastic. He's like an angel in this, and he's somebody who I wish I had in my life. Just he gets it.
It's probably the one redeeming quality, man, because you got all this star power, and out comes this pop of shit that I don't care about. How did you fumble this, Risa?
I mean, Paul Rudd in this is a D-bag.
Yeah.
His sideburns in it, though, made me remember that time in the 90s when dudes just had sideburns. Maybe not you, but I remember having some chops, Steve.
Me
so
too.
that's really what this movie serves for me the best, just the nostalgia bump you get from seeing all these weird-looking people. And I think Paul Rudd really got the short shaft where he's into Courtney Love for most of this movie, and that's gross.
Super gross.
I don't like that.
Movie stinks. On that same day in 1999, 8mm premieres. A private investigator is hired to discover if a snuff film is authentic or not. Directed by Joel Schumacher, starring Nicolas Cage, Joaquin Phoenix, James Gandolfini, Peter Stormare, and Anthony Heald.
Joel Schumacher did Falling Down, too.
Yeah.
Correct?
It's a good
What the
day.
hell? What the hell, man? Weird, like, tonal shift on these, I guess. This movie's very dark, Steve. This is basically Epstein, the movie, in a way. Just watching it again, it's actually better than I remember it. I don't think it's a great movie, and I think just tonally, it's just like, it's hard to watch. There's a lot of gross shit in it. But I will say, when you see what Nicolas Cage was making before this movie in the 90s, the Con Airs, the Rocks, the Face-Offs, and then you see this movie where it's a bunch of BDSM crazy like sex shit and porno stuff, and the guy from The Wire season 2 is a guy named The Machine that's killing and fucking people because he loves to do it. It's strange. It's definitely a strange movie. Joaquin Phoenix being some weird porno kid.
That clock.
Yeah, I mean, that actually does kind of work a little bit. I don't know, man. It's a strange movie to watch. It's kind of weird to watch it now with everything going on. I think it's pretty interesting, but it's a strange movie. I can't recommend this to anybody.
I don't like Anthony Heald. He pisses me off because he's a true value Nick Nolte. I don't like when celebrities look like another celebrity. Get a facelift. Because I'm gonna keep.
Which one's that?
That's the one that looks like Nick Nolte. He always looks like Nick Nolte. You know who I'm talking about. Anthony Heald. He's the guy. In this movie, he had glasses.
The guy who set up I don't like that guy either. He is always a scumbag too.
Looking like Nick Nolte.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell. It's if Nick Nolte never smoked crack, honestly, is what I feel like happened.
Stop looking like somebody else. Get your own swag.
Yeah, he's a scumbag in this too. It's dark. You want to watch a dark movie? Watch this movie. It's surprising Joel Schumacher again. This guy was making like the world-ending movies, wasn't he? Like these like huge blockbusters. He made a Batman movie, correct?
I believe so.
A bad one.
Yeah.
He made a couple of the ones that people don't like, but then he's making this movie about weird snuff films. You know, screw it. I just remember renting this as a kid. Because it was the 90s. It was going to be some crazy action movie. And then halfway in, you're like, wait, The Machine? This young teenage girl got killed in a porno? This is weird.
Yeah, I turned this shit off, to be honest with you, early in the game.
Okay.
Yeah. Also in 1999, The Breaks premiered. Adopted by a black family in LA, Derek grows up an Irish white boy who thinks he's black. When his mother catches him romantically entangled with a woman in her house, he's thrown out with an ultimatum. Directed by Eric Meza, starring Mitch Mulaney, Carl Anthony Payne II, Paula Jai Parker, Clifton Powell, Darius McCrary, Paul Benjamin, Lamont Bentley, and Loretta Devine.
E40 exhibit.
Gary Payton.
I'm sorry, Steve. You turned off 8mm. I turned this off. I just turned it, and I tried. You told me to try it again, and I did, and I turned it off again. I think this is a movie that's less quality than I Got the Hookup. I'd rather watch that Master P joint. But I will say Clifton Powell uplifts every movie that he's in. I don't care. He'll make you forget he's in a movie, and then you watch it again. He's even in like Rush Hour and shit, Steve. This guy's a legend. So they got him. The rest of it's just some trash, Steve.
Man.
I mean, they got a lot of great people, but would I love to talk to everybody in the movie? Yeah. But this movie that they filmed is just not quality, Steve. It's very not quality. It looks like something that they filmed for like Nickelodeon in the early 90s.
I'm not judging by quality. It's a comedy. I'm going by the funny. And I mean, it's got some funny characters in it, some funny performers. Ronaldo Ray, he plays Mitch Mulaney's uncle. Mitch Mulaney, man, another unsung hero. He didn't get enough time. We lost him in 2008 at the age, I believe, 30, 39.
What else was he in? Like, was he in anything else?
He had a recurring role on the Wayans brothers, White Mike, and he basically kind of plays the same guy. But I mean, to be real with you, Mitch Mulaney's from Oakland, so all of those performances are probably authentic to him.
I just feel like when you put this up against other parody movies, especially like 90s parody movies, this is just not, there's just better ones. But I mean, you dig it. That's what the thing about opinions, Steve. We can all have different ones.
For sure. Like, I think Booty
Great.
Call is trash. You don't like the breaks. But what are the callbacks for this week, Matt?
You know, Steve, it's just been a tough week. I don't have a lot of callbacks, to be honest with you. My callbacks are to just, let's everybody just chill the fuck out. Let's figure out some positivity in this world, because it's getting kind of dark and shitty. And when I'm saying movies like 8mm or what's reminding me of current times, that's not a good thing. So I guess that's really it, Steve. Just some positivity, my friend.
Yeah. All I got, man, is and this is I do a bad job of this with the RIPs, man. But we lost James Vanderbeek a couple weeks ago, and we talked about on Varsity Blues. When we covered Varsity Blues, we talked about how we lost Paul Walker, we lost the guy Billy Bob, and so now James Vanderbeek, as well as the guy who played his little brother. So gone too soon, man. And recently we lost Robert Duvall, a legend in the game. I believe we lost him at the age of 95.
95. Also was in Falling Down, which I forgot. So shout out to Robert
totally.
Duvall. It's something we talked about this week. And yeah, Vanderbeek, sad story. And one of those, it's crazy sometimes, these celebrities that pass and you don't know these crazy things that they're going through. It's really heartbreaking. So yeah, man, shout out to both those legends. At least Robert Duvall, 95, man. That's a good run. That guy he got it.
Dude, he was in some hitters, man. So
father, man, that's crazy, and that's so yeah, sad stuff.
So please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister, hello, ho. Check out Food Show Fanatics as well as Crushgasm every Wednesday. Our guy Clark the Shark on Podcastle and Wrestling with Ronzilla on TikTok. This is Steve G and Mad G with
Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the flat kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!